Hello, I'm Tiana Dummett, and this is my presentation on the Jovian planets and beyond, which covers pages 48 to 58 in the book. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Jovian planets, which include Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. I'm also going to talk about Pluto, the Kuiper Belt, asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. So Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. In fact, if Jupiter was 80 times more massive, nuclear fission reactions would start and it would become a star. From Earth, Jupiter appears brighter than all other planets and stars except for Venus. Jupiter and its moons were first explored by the US robotic probes Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 in 1979. In 1995, the US spacecraft Galileo explored Jupiter. All of these spacecrafts were able to collect data and pictures of Jupiter. Jupiter has a thick atmosphere composed of mostly hydrogen and helium. In Jupiter's atmosphere, the density of hydrogen increases as it extends from the top down as the pressure increases, and it changes to liquid hydrogen. Additionally, Jupiter has an extremely powerful dipolar magnetic field. This massive planet is encircled by rings, composed of dust grains that were blasted off by the inner moons by meteoroids. Jupiter has a distinct red, orange, and brown colors because of the sulfur, phosphorus, and ammonia that it contains. Jupiter's Great Red Spot is a gigantic storm that is about 1.3 times the diameter of the Earth. This spot rotates and moves around the planet. Jupiter's moons. So Jupiter has at least 63 moons, but the four largest are called the Galilean moons. These moons are called Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Io has active volcanoes and a very colorful surface. Io gets tugged on by the other moons as well as getting pulled by Jupiter. This creates tidal bulges on the surface. Europa is the brightest Galilean moon. Ganymede is the largest moon in our solar system, and Callisto is possibly the oldest because it has numerous craters and an icy crust. Saturn, the next farthest planet in our solar system, is known for its rings. Its brightest rings are about 282,000 kilometers wide, but only 1 kilometer thick. Saturn's rings consist of billions of ice particles orbiting the planet. From these particles are likely the remnants of moons, asteroids, and comets. Voyager 1 in 1981 and Voyager 2 in 1982 sent back images of Saturn's systems. The US and European spacecraft Cassini ejected a probe called Huygens near Saturn in 2004. Huygens took many pictures and collected information about the chemistry of the atmosphere in clouds. Cassini orbited Saturn for 13 years. Saturn is mainly composed of hydrogen and helium gas. Saturn has the lowest density of any planet in our solar system. Its density is even lower than the density of water, which means that the planet would float in water if hypothetically it was put in water big enough to hold the planet. So Saturn's moons. Saturn has at least 60 confirmed moons. The largest moon, Titan, may contain water. This water indicates the possibility of biological processes. Saturn's other large moons are mainly made of ice and may contain craters. Prometheus and Pandora orbit on the inside and outside edge of one of Saturn's thinnest rings. Uranus. Uranus was the first planet identified by a telescope. Voyager 2 sent many images of Uranus back to Earth in 1986. Uranus is tipped on its side and surrounded by narrow rings. Astronomers hypothesized that the planet collided with another body that knocked it over. Its atmosphere is mainly composed of hydrogen and about 15% helium. The blue appearance is caused by the methane in the atmosphere. Uranus has dark, narrow rings that are mainly composed of large ice chunks. Uranus's moons. Uranus has 5 large moons and at least 27 smaller moons. The moons are composed of 50% ice, 20% of carbon or nitrogen-based materials, and 30% rock. The 5 largest moons are called Titania, Oberon, Ariel, Umbriel, and Miranda. Neptune. Hydrogen, helium, and methane clouds give this planet a blue appearance. This planet was discovered when astronomers noticed that Uranus was not following the path that it aligned with Newton's law of gravity, so they hypothesized that there was another planet disrupting its gravitational path. Neptune has the strongest winds out of any planet, and it has 4 rings. Neptune's moons. Neptune has at least 13 moons, the largest of which is called Triton, and you can see a picture of Triton right here. Triton contains methane ice and has a reddish color. The surface temperature of Triton is negative 391 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the coldest observed temperature in the solar system. Plutoids and the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt is a vast region of the solar system beyond Neptune, containing icy bodies and larger masses known as the Kuiper Belt objects, or KBOs. Pluto was the first KBO discovered. Originally, it was designated as a planet, but the discovery of another similar object, called Eris, led to the discovery of dwarf planets, which they are now called. The term Plutoids refers to the dwarf planets beyond Neptune. Both of these dwarf planets have inclined orbits that are unlike those of the planets, which have more circular orbits. Pluto and Eris have low densities, indicating that they are composed of ice and rock. Pluto's biggest moon, Charon, orbits Pluto in 6.387 days, which is exactly the time it takes both Pluto and Charon to rotate once. This means that if a person was standing on Pluto, they would always see Charon in the exact same spot in the sky and only from one hemisphere. Asteroids. Asteroids are irregularly shaped bodies of rock and metal. Most asteroids orbit the Sun in an asteroid belt, which is a region between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Comets are icy, small celestial objects that, when passing close to the Sun, warm and release gases and produce a tail. Comets have a core, called the nucleus, surrounded by a glowing halo called the coma. Comets gain a dust tail behind it composed of gases and dust released from the nucleus, and a cloud of hydrogen forms around the comet. Halley's Comet is visible to the Earth every 75 or 76 years. This comet's next appearance will be in July of 2061. And here's a picture of Halley's Comet. Meteoroids. So meteoroids are pieces of rock and dust found in the inner solar system. Meteors, or shooting stars, are streaks of light created when meteoroids plunge through Earth's atmosphere. A meteor shower occurs when the Earth crosses a swarm of meteoroids left behind from an active comet. A meteorite is when a piece of stone or metal from outer space lands on Earth. These land on Earth and can create a crater. One meteorite that is found in Mexico is possibly responsible for the biospheric destruction that caused the extinction of dinosaurs and many other species 65 million years ago. That's it for my presentation. Thanks for watching, and I put my email here on the screen, so I think you guys should definitely send me emails letting me know what you liked and what you didn't like about my presentation.